Welcome, everybody, to our budget meeting. Kelly, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Commissioner Alla,
Present.
Commissioner Cassidy. Here. Vice Mayor Cos.
Here.
Mayor Pugh.
Here.
And I've got Commissioner Gustafson with notice being absent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with justice for all. Thank you.
So you all know Lynette's mother passed away on Thursday.
Her mom.
Her mother,
Yeah.
after a short time in hospice, she had just gotten out to Iowa. Yeah, a kidney failure, I guess. Her parents were married for 70 years.
10 kids.
Holy cow.
Eric said it was a blessing. I think she was.
So it's a sad day. I also would like a moment of silence for John Reeves. Some of you may know him. He lived in Pelican Cove for about 4 or 5 years. He is at 2:00. It's called the Walk of Honor. I didn't know this until yesterday. He's an organ donor. He's brain dead. And at 2:00, as we start this meeting, they're going to wheel him down to remove his organs. So just a moment of silence for him. Thank you.
You're welcome. How old?
69, 68.
Really?
Yeah, June.
30. Yeah, you probably saw him walking on Old Ocean.
Walked every day you see him.
All right, regular agenda items, is review of the proposed budget. Are you gonna start, Michelle?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, today what I'd like to do is read for you a memo I prepared and then walk through the PowerPoint.
Could I interrupt one sec?
Sure you
I
can.
have to leave at 2:30.
I'm
So
gonna
if
do
there's
it
anything
fast.
that we have to vote on,
We're no voting today, so we're good.
Great,
Yes,
thanks.
it's just discussion, but I'll move through this part quickly. As we begin the new fiscal planning year, I want to take a moment to recognize an important milestone. On July 8th, I forgot I had this in here, sorry. I was honored to be appointed as the town's permanent town manager and serving as an interim town manager beginning in April 2025. As we pass the 1 year mark together, working in this capacity, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the trust and support and the partnership. But I think it's important that we go through and talk about the accomplishments that you've, as a board, have accomplished with the budget that you have in hand. So among the many accomplishments achieved, first one, advancement of multiple critical infrastructure projects, including water system improvements, drainage improvements and enhancements, roadway planning and resiliency initiatives, completion of significant town hall and police department facility improvements, including roof replacement, hurricane impact window replacement, security enhancements, and continued hardening of critical governmental structures, development of sustainable long-term financial strategies while improving the town's strong financial position, strengthening the internal financial controls, procurement practices, and organizational accountability, modernization of building department operations, successful pursuit and management of state and federal grant opportunities supporting the community, continued investment in our employees throughout organizational development, operational improvements, and leadership initiatives, broadening the control and contractual options for engineering, emergency recovery services, and other professional services in lieu of creating additional FTEs, which are full-time equivalent employees. And expansion of communication and transparency with residents while maintaining a high level of customer service. So well done and congratulations. And while they're important, I believe the collaborative relationship is just as important that you have with your residents. And so continuing to have residents come and have town halls, we forecast that in the next cycle as well, in the next fiscal year. And so now we can go to the PowerPoint. So on the first page, again, a recap of where you're spending your money and what's happening. So last November 2025, we were talking about your top 4 priorities that were in progress. So again, your 2 that are most important, Harbor Drive North drainage will start August 10th, actually construction. That's a big deal. And looking down at number 4, phase 4 modernization of pipe, as you know, started July 27th, and we're in the construction phase for those two as well. And important to note for number 3, the phase 2 of the modernization of pipes right out front of Town Hall on A1A, we did receive that $300,000 grant appropriation. And so that allows us to now move forward and into the construction phase. First, we'll take the opportunity for the next couple of months to move in the procurement phase. We'll be looking through all of those opportunities again next.
Michelle, what's the latest on number 2?
Right now, nothing new. It actually, for Hudson Avenue, it is sitting with FEMA. So good news that it made it to FEMA for grant purposes. FEMA has to be the last authorized agency to approve it. And it's been with FEMA since March. And I spoke to the local mitigation strategy executive director and our state liaison, and nobody has anything more to offer me other than it's with FEMA. Today, we're here to discuss the budget in a snapshot. We're going to pass over the millage rate information again, some department detail, capital and staffing, and calendar updates. Next slide gives you a budget at a glance. So we're at about 21 million for the full budget, which is 9.5% over the previous year with our proposed millage rate of 5.4. Move on. The 2027 estimate for revenue, as you can see, the majority of our revenue does come in with ad valorem taxes, and we are considering 11 million for this year. And this is not new information. So you can see that over there on the side, it gives a share of totals with percentages for your information. Proposed millage rate. Right now, we created the budget with the same millage rate as the previous year. It's 5.4. If we went to the rollback rate, that would be 5.0881, which is a 6.1% increase over the millage rate. Okay. In context to what our neighbors are proposing. So this is where we sit currently, according to the property appraiser's website. So 5.4 is what Ocean Ridge is projecting, and our neighbors all around us, we're right in the middle. Next slide. Here's a glance at fiscal year 27, what the departments are requesting versus the previous year. We continue to see the majority of the expenses come out of physical environment, which is maintenance and upkeep, and law enforcement and fire.
Yeah, town commission didn't ask.
I know it's
Yeah.
so tiny, but it does need to be recorded. Okay,
Is it a $10 raise?
Short questions.
You say steady.
I just,
Do you want to just get through
can we
it?
get through it for
Italy-
purposes of vice mayor wanting to hear it all before you leave? Department budget detail and primary drivers. These are documents that you'll be able to look back on as well if you have further questions, but this gives you the percentage of change over the previous year for each of the departments. The highest, as you reach and look over to that side, you'll see the town manager and then the primary drivers, compensation adjustments. We added in the deferred equipment and some conference information. The next one is inspections. We now have the standalone fund, which is 101 instead of 001. And we're trying to be compliant with those new state initiatives. Capital investment and transfers, the capital project, we're looking at 4.8. Transferring, it's 11.5% versus fiscal year 26. So we continue to invest in our capital infrastructure. A little breakdown there as well. Staffing overview, that 37 number does include the 5 commissioners. And for law enforcement, it's a little different. Law enforcement and fire sheriff budget, they're 33.1%. This also includes the 200,000 that we put aside for reserves for the fire contract. Next one.
Michelle, do we have any stats on for law enforcement, like per capita for the number of people we have and all that? Are we kind of in line with all that? Maybe.
Yeah, well, let me do this. If you don't mind, Commissioner, let me run through
Okay.
the final of this, so Vice Mayor will have all the information before he has to leave. And then the police chief can absolutely update you, and if he doesn't have it with him now, then we can get that for you. Payroll and benefits, police versus all others, and this is inclusive of all benefits, including retirement as well as medical. And as you can see, the police and dispatch, no surprise, it's just the majority of what the organization is. So 77% are police and dispatch, and the best goes to all of the departments. Okay, turn the page. Budget and calendar date. So today is August 3rd. We are having a final budget workshop unless the commission wants to have another. Our next important date is September 14th, which will be when we have our first public hearing. It'll be our tentative budget. At that point in time, you are voting on the millage rate that will stand. And then the final would be September 21st, and that will be the second hearing, and that will be the final. And that puts me through that portion of the presentation. And so now I say, let's go ahead and open it up for questions. So Vice Mayor can be part of that discussion before he leaves,
Pardon?
so that you can be part of the discussion before you leave. I'll open it up for questions.
It's very, very small question for the police chief. The figure 24, that includes everyone, right? You, the lieutenants, everybody?
Yes.
Thanks.
I have a couple questions on the, so I was kind of looking from the sheet that you gave us in our packet,
Okay.
kind of summaries. And the line item for other physical environment went from 25 to 26 activity, 367,000. The amended budget for 25, 26 then jumps to 4.239 million. What was that?
The jump from 367,000. I'll have to look back, but my recollection is that we just weren't doing any of the projects at that point in time, any of the capital projects. Or was allocated under a
do you-
different line item.
You see what number I'm
Let's
referring
do
to?
that. So you're saying that you added basically
4 million
yeah,
almost.
$4 million onto that, and that's from the projects we're doing?
And that's not including transferred capital projects.
Right, so this is capital infrastructure resiliency initiative, stormwater improvements and environmental maintenance. So one of the concerns is, have we been ongoing with maintenance, and maybe that's what was happening at that time. Maybe some of that was not happening then.
And now it's jumping to 5.14 million.
Yeah,
It's
so
a
the the worksheet that I sent you with the long version where it shows what everything is on that, I can break that down again for you and send over.
I'd like to see that, because I mean, if we're budgeting that, we have to spend, we're planning on spending, correct?
Yes, anything that we budget, we plan on spending, or at least the money is allocated for it. So that way, if it doesn't get done this year, the money is set.
Seems like.
I
it's
don't
a
recall seeing a
Weird
worksheet.
number, like why would it jump so much?
That was a year before I was here, so I have to go back and look at that. I'll get that information to you, and I'm gonna try and look.
We have,
up-
we have to look at how these are categorized here, because I mean, I've seen it in this format.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but I think that it's all related to where we're categorizing the capital expenditures and some of the stuff that flipped from one year to the next. But we'll dig into that and clarify. There hasn't been any increase that we weren't aware of. So it's all stuff that we approved. But I think it's just the buckets.
Well, capital infrastructure could be all the water.
No, it is. It's definitely the water pipes and everything, but it's,
Drainage.
yeah.
So the 5.4 million payroll and benefits, total payroll and benefits, that's just for the police department.
No, that's everyone.
Payroll and
And
benefits,
like
police
75% of it is.
Plus it's versus all others, so the 75% of police department is 4,142,000, right? Divided by 1,800.
So it's $2,306 for those.
On that slide 12. It's got the split.
Yeah. I just divided it at 4152, 460
Oh,
by 1,800 residents, $2,306 per resident.
What was that number, Jeff?
That's on page 12.
No, the number you give.
per resident
I
charge.
came for this, the police dispatch,
Yeah.
and I just divided by
And what was
1,800
your,
residents.
what you get?
$2,306.66.
That's just for police and dispatch.
It would be interesting to know what that is for other places.
That's the same thing. I mean, that's the only, if you make that investment, that's the level of service.
Yeah, well, the investment's paying off, based on our results so far.
It's paying
That
off
was-
huge.
That was kind of the kind of question I was asking, which is how does our, police force per square inch compare to other towns? Do we know that?
I mean, the islands. The hospital, do some street. Others. Cities. Something's.
We did a big study, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, of salaries,
Mhm.
police salaries, so we had to up our salaries to match the other.
Yeah, I'm asking a different question. I'm saying how many police per resident?
Yep, I understand.
Are we above, below? I mean, I just don't know. My sense is that we're at a pretty good level. We're getting good results, but it would be nice to understand that. Michelle, maybe we can dig some of that up.
Yes, sir. I provided that in the June workshop, so I'll have to go back to the June workshop to see what that number was. But when we provided it, I remember saying that was well within what was so assumed to be appropriate for the number per resident. I think
Yeah.
it's something like one for every 125 residents.
Yeah, to be clear, I'm not asking because I'm challenging that we have too much. I mean, I'm just saying as part of our job, we should probably just check and see how we benchmark
It's a
out.
metric, yeah.
Yeah, just to get an idea.
I'll put that in the final budget.
And I haven't seen anywhere, unless I'm missing something, kind of a breakdown for staff and what the proposed increase in salaries is.
In June, when we had a discussion during the workshop, we had talked about doing the same structure, which was overall 5% optional that for the town manager, 3% for the COLA and 2% for merit.
At your discretion.
Yeah.
Correct. And
Not
that's
peanut
at a
butter,
2%.
spread like peanut butter, but rather.
Right.
your
My
discretion.
notes from June, I wrote, consider COLA discussion for August.
Okay.
That's why I'm just saying there's something between that.
So I think what I received from each of you is during one-on-ones or during the time that we've come together on workshops is that we wanted to keep it as close to the same as possible. That being said, my staff is doing a lot more now with less. And so there will be opportunities for, as some of the staff tends to shrink, for the merit increase to go up. But what I heard from you in June was to use my discretion in how I apply it, because as you know, from some of the one-on-ones, not everyone received a merit increase this year. And so that enables some others to be able to have more than 2%.
Which was our intent.
That was what the direction you gave me at that time.
Just remind me, for COLA, you just give everybody the COLA.
Yes, so the round number is 3% that we use, when we're figuring it, and we take a look at what it is in the beginning of the year, October 1. And then whatever that number is, what we're using. It's typically 3% that we forecast.
Okay.
There are in the subnotes that you have in the footnotes, you'll see as you go through it, I want to say less than a handful of people that are getting one-time lump sum payouts. And some of that has to do with the PPA contract and some of it just has to do with longevity. 10-year service, 5-year service, as you know.
I had a question just when you, in your footnotes,
Mhm.
there are all these different numbers for workers' comp, but it doesn't explain like what's what.
Yeah, workers' comp is always fun to work with. I don't want to pretend to be able to tell you what a right number is. I'm actually tonight on your agenda, on your consent agenda, I have two line items that we talked about it on our one-on-ones. One is where I'm waiting for workman's comp invoicing and proposal, and that hasn't been worked out yet. And so I don't even know what that number is going to look like. I've forecasted 5% more than last year. But workman's comp is sometimes a moving target and it's very heavily weighted towards, of course, those that are in the field and potentially getting hurt. And so sometimes you'll see a department like, say, a public works or a police department, and those employees will have, it will be more expensive for their workers' comp than, say, somebody that's sitting at the desk and it's our accountant. And so those numbers, that's the rhyme and reason behind it. But they take into account with their formulas, the rate of pay that they're receiving, as well as what their job description is.
So what you built in, okay, now on fire, you built in a 4% increase because it's greater of the CPI, or 4%, right?
Correct.
4% plus the $200,000 reserve.
Right, the $200,000 reserve is, I just think
Right.
that's smart for right now.
If that transfer over to Palm Beach County happens, will that happen during this budget cycle? I just don't know.
Yes, it will. So if they would like it to happen. So they're on pause right now pending what happens with the Tallahassee legislation. And so if that Tallahassee legislation goes, whether it goes or doesn't go, they'll recalculate everything, take a couple more steps. But they initially wanted to have it effective October 1st, 2026. And so as soon as they can, they want to make that effective.
So they're waiting till the election, till the vote on the,
Do we know what happens?
Right.
yeah.
There's a lot of ambiguity.
Does Christie think that they would have to, I mean, they can't come in, make a big change in terms of our contractual rates without us being able to talk to them?
Yes, they would still have to come talk to us. And that's the beauty of not renegotiating that last offer that Boynton Beach gave us. So if they move on to Palm Beach County, then we would negotiate with Palm Beach County. So in the meantime, they would hold steady our current contract, and then they would let us know when they anticipate that changing. Of course, they have a lot of the cards in their hands. They could come back and say, we're going to allow this to play out and finish your 3 years. They may give us a 1-year opportunity to, negotiate and then change it. Ideally, I hope to, and I've already voiced this to Chief Kennedy and Palm Beach County. I would like to stay in the same methodology that Manalapan has, which is contractual, rather than moving into the MSTU, which would be over 3 mils. I think they're at like 3.4 mils right now.
Yep.
Michelle, when we first started the budget process, I was worried that, not worried, I was hoping that interest rates were going to go down, but I was worried that our budget item around interest on surplus might have to be lowered. I don't feel quite that way anymore. Where did we end up settling on? What are we assuming FL class?
480.
Okay, are we kind of assuming about the same?
We are, we really should only pull out maybe 2 million, maybe 3 million, and, for the majority of this year. And then the heavy lift comes toward the end of the year. So I think between now and then, we still have an opportunity to gain some interest
So we're
rates.
budgeting about the same.
It is. I think it was 450 last year, something like
If
that.
anything, it'll probably be under. Interest rates.
It was a very good choice that you made with that.
Should have happened earlier than it did, but
Correct.
that wasn't on you.
Speaking of long-term, and so one of the things I said that we would look at is potentially the 10-year capital improvement plan. So let me go ahead and pass this to you. That I'm passing to you now. Cheryl just did those for us real quick. And then on top of it, you have in front of you the long version. Try to be consistent in the way that you're used to reading it, staying so that it's easy to
Can I have
interpret.
one more question on,
Yeah.
just on the footnotes?
Mhm.
I saw for town functions, you have budgeted 25,000. I think it was 16 last year.
Yes, that's one
Does that
that
include overtime stuff?
it does. And it
I'm
really
sorry,
is
Carol,
more,
Where are you? Where's that?
In the budget footnotes, there's a line item. It's on page 16 of 23. No, not on that. It's,
That's quite,
And the
Yeah.
details, yeah. We added the one event. I think it went well. If the commission wants to continue doing that, then I want it to be reflective of what it actually costs us.
Okay.
That's a definite give back to the residents. I love that one.
prisoner food is expensive.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
what's that?
Prisoner,
Prisoner food. They have to.
Might
To
start coming
decide.
here for dinner.
me too.
What do you actually feed them? Chief?
Do we have any?
Right.
They're not here that long, are they?
Yeah.
All right, so with the capital improvement plan, and I can make sure that the people in the audience will have this as well. This is just an expansion. And
Have an extra, there's an extra one.
there we go. This one's too
Oh,
big to go on.
Pence
the over- That's so, it doesn't, you can't read it when you start to pull it up.
Do you need one, Kelly, to put there?
There we go.
Too hard to read.
So as you know, I want to say many moons ago, I don't remember the date, the year now, I think it was 2019 maybe. The commission participated in a study for septic to sewer. And so I looked at that information and then I took the rates and the recommendations that the study offered and I put that into Chat GPT and then also a couple others, to a couple other AI programs and asked it to update with today's modern figures, how much would it cost now? And so that's where I came up with the $60 million number. So, to be, very clear, some of these numbers are arbitrary when you're this far out. We're out 5-6 years, but we do need to start to memorialize the infrastructure that's needed and potentially the burden that we will have moving forward in paying for something like this, should the state, push forward with the mandates. And so that's why that's here. And I appropriately just selected phases and a phased in approach, including design and phase. And I also at the bottom, you'll see that I assumed that there would be grant funding and potentially, usually it's a 30% number is a good number for septic to sewer conversion. And so the town funding portion could come out to about 42,000 really is what I wanted to kind of note.
42.
Sorry, yeah, 42 million. What is 42,000? I'd say write the check today. So again, this is one of those documents that we create for planning purposes and understanding that we're not going to hold any of us to these numbers as inflation and the industry continues to change their numbers.
But it's also, Michelle and I have been talking about this, it's also important as we're looking at millage rate and thinking about, gee, is it appropriate to keep it at 5.4? Should we think about ratcheting it back down? If when we looked out line of sight over 10 years, if there was nothing on the horizon, we might say, geez, let's try to tighten it down a little bit. Maybe we could take it down a little bit. But when you look at this, that doesn't make you think we should take it down. It makes you think, let's wait until we understand exactly what's going to happen in the future. We've got some other conversations going on about water authorities and everything else that could have a huge impact on all of these numbers. But they're bigger than a bread box. It doesn't make you think that we should be looking at taking our millage rate down. It makes you think that we'll do well to manage it to that level, maybe. Again, lots of conversation to be had, but for this year, it makes me feel more comfortable staying right at. It's fine.
Well, I agree. I mean, that's all, over all the years, we've been really diligent about making sure our reserve levels are high so that we can cover any contingency. Right now, we're almost, what, over a year? We can literally cover our own expenses for one full year with our reserve.
It was so ridiculous, like 280 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite here.
All right, so the half sheet that I put in front of you, because with all the printout paper I did, I wanted to save like 3 sheets of paper.
That little one?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, the little one.
The little one,
Oh, here it is.
it shows the reserves minus the infrastructure that's committed for the next 2 years. You can bring that with you. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you, sir. And so it's 2 years, and that's what we're looking at within the reserves right now that we could put towards hurricane issues if something happened, or an unexpected water main break, or moving into the future.
And
As you
just
know,
in-
our margins year over year, when we're done paying the bills, we're typically around 1.8, 1.9 million left over at the end of the year. And so that's where it is.
And I think just to continue on the sewer conversation, the grant possibilities, I think the fact that we've gotten some pretty significant grants in the last couple of years and are managing them well, so we have a good track of that.
Right.
And there are some interesting possibilities with conversations. They have access to financing. So it's some interesting stuff.
As you know, you have one-on-ones coming up in the near future with the city of Boynton to go over some of those details, and we'll know more on potential, opportunities as we get closer to those dates.
Any other questions? Public comment? Okay. Is that everything? Very good. Michelle, thank you. It was another excellent presentation. Sure was a lot of paper.
So I'll be bringing forward in September for your first hearing, then the budget at the 5.4 millage rate. I'll add in the conversations we've had. I'll add some product in there. I'll add a memo, and it'll be what you're used to seeing in September, which is a little thicker packet. Okay,
All right. Well, thank you.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. All right, meeting adjourned. See you tonight. 6 o'clock. Nice work. Budget thing. I mean,
We're making good progress.
it's funny that when it's clear,
It was the
and it's clear and concise, and you really can understand it.